Councillor Findura.
3 minutes, Mayor? 3 minutes. I'm just going to throw this out. The model growth pays for growth. I know when we defer projects, we know what happens. We've been telling the residents, the taxpayer, that growth will pay for growth. And so here we go. Again, we're going to be asking for however you come up with, for the taxpayers to pay for more of the growth. I understand it's the whole city, but as you remember being here for a while, that question always pops up. And the discussion was, back then, we were quite high on things saying growth will pay for growth. So just want to say that. And if anyone has any kind of a comment, I know I've heard before, well, we haven't done something, we should have. That's yesterday country, we need to look to the future, I understand that. But could someone make a comment about what happened to our model growth pays for growth? Mayor?
Oh, Ms. Bryden, Mr. Lacey, you're up.
So through you, Mayor Masters, I'm going to make a few comments. To some extent, they're my own personal reflection of where we're at. And once again, I think this is one of the questions this SAF review that we keep coming back and talking about is going to need to address. So I would take it's a little bit my perspective on the matter, and Ms. Bryden may add to it or might have a different perspective. When I first came to the city, that was a phrase often used, growth pays for growth. And I think when you look at some of the challenges we have in the SAF model, I'm not sure in today's environment that we have that 100% right. The growth pays for growth happened at a time, and that model was developed, I think, beginning 10 plus years ago when we had significant growth happening in the city, and it didn't look like that rate of growth was going to end. If anything, it was going to accelerate. When you talk about growth pays for growth, myself personally, I think I, as a tax-paying citizen here in the city of Regina, benefit by growth. And so, and I receive a benefit from growth, whether that's additional retail opportunities, additional recreational opportunities, because we're a larger city as a result of growth, and all the benefits you see in larger cities, I benefit that as a current taxpayer. And so, in our current environment, by placing all the costs of growth on new development, I think it potentially creates some challenges. Challenges from the perspective of, are we uncompetitive? Because that cost that we charge as a service agreement fee for that growth pays for growth model, that goes directly to the costs of that land development, and whoever eventually purchases that land or the building on that land, they're the ones that are actually paying for it. And so, are we competitive with other jurisdictions, depending on what that model and what that pricing looks like? And so, so this is what the review, I think, is going to be looking at, one of the questions, and I think that's going to be a discussion and debate that council has to have, is do all of us that are existing property owners, do we benefit by growth? And if we benefit by growth, is there a reason and a rationale that we, in part, need to be investing in growth as well as current taxpayers of the city? Because we're going to see the benefits of that, as opposed to putting that entire cost on new growth development opportunities. And if you price yourself out of the market, so to speak, well, then you're not going to see growth. And so I think it is a balancing act, and all I'm saying is I'm not sure that the model that we have today necessarily is the right model for the economic environment that we're in. But I don't want to prejudge the outcome of that review. I think that review needs to take its own course, but those are some of the questions I think that need to be answered. Ms. Bryden, do you have any additional comment?